On this lovely February 26, 2023, we're going to talk about something that everyone the world over loves, hates, despises, and uses all the time, 24/7, 365, or 366 if it's a leap year, depending on what your time scales are looking like. I love how Aaron all of a sudden is like, wait, 365, 366? What does this mean? What is this number?
It was 364.
No, there's 365 days in a year, 366 in a leap year, sir. Aaron has now been schooled on things.
Just by a day.
Just by a day. But we're going to be talking about something that everyone uses all the time. And when I say uses all the time, I mean you can go outside in the middle of summer and you will see teens with their necks hunched over, staring into their phones because they have to get their latest dopamine hit from social media. And social media is slowly going to kill us all.
Hot water machine. Oh, there's a little redness of it. Oh, but yeah, it really hurts.
Aaron is over here laughing at himself, or either that or he's cringing
At myself.
I don't know which it is, but it doesn't matter.
Yes.
Because both are valid and proper to do in this day and age. As is social media. And social media is something that has been on my, how do I put it? It's been on my radar for a while. And we've talked about it here and there over the harmful benefits of social media, the harmful effects of it. But now there are actually starting to be studies coming out saying how harmful, how impactful this technology is, and how just 1 month away from it can improve so much. Now, I'm going to grant the premise before we even start. Most of these articles that I have that talk about, oh, we studied blank number of teens or whatever, they are relatively small studies. I will grant that. They are not talking about thousands or hundreds of thousands or millions of teens being studied. We're talking in the hundreds for most of these.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. But to make one situation better.
Let me put it this way. I don't think we should put millions or hundreds of thousands of teens in danger to prove that social media is evil.
Wait.
Okay, maybe that's a little hyperbolic to say call social media evil. It's damaging. And I'll give you my conclusion up front here. Honestly,
yeah,
I think we should put social media as one of those things that requires age verification at 18 plus.
18?
Make it, you're an adult.
Really?
That is my conclusion. Let's get there on how I got to that conclusion. But yeah.
Wow.
Let's put it in the same category as cigarettes, alcohol, firearms, and everything
21.
else.
Well, 21 for cigarettes and alcohol.
Yeah. Okay. Recently it moved to 21 for cigarettes.
Yes.
Okay. Previously it was 18.
Tobacco products.
Okay. Previously it was 18. Alcohol is 21. That's been for a while. But I'm saying put it at the adult only section of the internet.
Yeah.
There are states that are trying to make it so that if you go to a pornography site, you have to verify who you are and verify your age, that you're 18 plus.
Yeah.
Let's make this more strict than that in a way, or as equally strict.
Well,
as equally strict or more.
Right. But I mean, pornography sites aren't even that strict anyways.
In most states, I understand. Let's make this a national thing. Social media, 18 plus across the board. That's going to make a lot of people upset, especially a lot of teenagers whose lives live
on social media.
But that's why.
Yeah, it's not good.
During the teenage years, we are having people grow up who are addicted to the dopamine highs of social media. They are changing what they perceive about themselves based on the feedback or lack thereof that they get from their peers. You have people who start starving themselves or going through extreme diets or deciding that they are no longer this, but they are that because of the feedback and the trends they see on social media, the likes that they get when, oh, they show a picture of themselves that looks a little bit skinnier than the last time. And all of a sudden, all these people love it. And they're like, oh, I must do this to continue to get that dopamine hit and high of acceptance. This
Right.
leads to a bigger conversation about things. First off,
Right.
why are we seeking our acceptance from strangers and people online? I don't know. Call me old fashioned, call me old. I don't care. I am glad I did not grow up with social media. In fact, when I was in college, it was a rare thing to have a Facebook account.
Yeah.
Facebook hadn't
Yeah.
rolled out. That's a tech term, to be deployed to, be available to,
Yeah.
is available for you to consume yet at my college. Because at that time, you needed a .edu email address
To get a Facebook?
to get a Facebook account.
Huh.
And it wasn't available for cornerstone.edu at the time. I think until like
Paul.
my junior year.
Paul's just salty. He didn't get to hop on right away.
Oh no, I am not salty now.
Well, okay. I was thinking of, and I was just thinking about this before we got into this. Just going back to compare Facebook from how I remember it compared to now.
Okay.
Because now, granted, it very well could have all have been there from when I was on there, as far as just like what's on Facebook and all that stuff. I just never thought to go out and find anything. Which, I mean, I haven't really gone out to find anything now, but I just know there's a bunch of junk out there. Anywho, well, I guess as far as like ads and stuff like that, like I don't the only thing I remember, especially when I first created my Facebook account, was literally you saw stuff from friends, and that was it.
Right.
That wasn't so bad. Now, also, I mean, I didn't have, as many friends on my Facebook as I suppose I probably do now, which wouldn't be a bad idea to do the classic old, filter through the friends, get rid of people that's like, who are you? And then just keep it down to the core group of friends that, I actually try to keep in contact with, I suppose.
Okay.
But now if you do that and somebody got removed that didn't want to be removed, now you have people's feelings hurt and all that kind of fun stuff now. But yeah, I don't know. Like there didn't used to be so much outside influences in Facebook from what I remember compared to how it's been the last several years, where it's just like anything you look for on the computer or just anything that's popular or trending is now reaching your news feed and stuff like that. Where from what I used to remember is literally just what friends are posting.
Right. The original vision of Facebook. Now, maybe I'm dating myself here a little bit. Okay. Laugh all you want. I don't care.
Old.
I'm going to be 40 this year. I'm old.
You're not old. Not yet.
I'm ancient. Let it be known. I am ancient and old. Okay.
Okay.
You'll be there soon someday too. And all this will be scary and new to you as well. And you'll be like, oh. Anyways.
It already is scary.
Facebook, when it started,
Mhm.
was meant to be an online yearbook, essentially.
What?
Do you know what a yearbook is?
I mean, okay, am I thinking of a different kind of yearbook?
Yearbook you had in high school. What was that?
It was just pictures from all the people that went there and some memories throughout here
Exactly.
and there. Yeah.
Essentially, it was made originally to basically be an online living yearbook of people that you went to school with and were classmates with and were friends with.
So, but there's still the connection part where you could talk to one another, right?
Yeah, but it was more like, I don't even think when I joined Facebook originally, I don't even think like Messenger was a thing in there. It was literally just public walls.
Posts.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
Whoa. That's kind of funny because then it's like, well, it's now Facebook owns Instagram or has,
They own Instagram, yep.
but
They also own WhatsApp,
yeah,
Facebook Messenger,
right.
Facebook itself, obviously.
Yeah. But I was like, it used to literally just be pictures
And
Well, did it even used to be pictures much?
it was pictures.
Well,
and,
Instagram was. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah.
Instagram was pictures, the caption, and that was it.
yeah. And
Yeah.
Facebook was just wall posts.
Yeah.
And so you would see all the wall posts from like my school,
Yeah.
Cornerstone University.
Yeah.
And be able to comment on them. And maybe if like I went to transfer to a different school, right? And then I got a new email address, then I would be part of that community. And then my friends I had back at Cornerstone would be able to see the stuff, some of that stuff, and cross pollinate that. That's how that's how Facebook started.
Yeah.
I remember it back in the day.
Way back when.
Exactly. You're talking back in 2003, 2004 timeframe, or maybe even a little bit later than that. I don't remember the exact years. I just remember it was near the tail end of my college time.
Mm-hmm. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Thinking I was only in like what, 3rd grade or somewhere in that range.
Yeah.
Which, yeah, okay, so
it really didn't, it's nowhere near what it's like today. Back when it first started,
right,
back
yeah,
then it
it's
was literally
changed a ton.
just to keep in touch with people you went to school with. Back when it was called the Facebook.
The Facebook.
They dropped the word "the" I think in like 2005-ish or so.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah,
So that was early on.
they bought the name Facebook.com in 2005 for $200,000.
Jeez Louise.
The platform was made available for high school students and then the general public in 2006.
What?
2006 it was made available for general public. Previous to that, it was like
Just high school?
so.
Well, I mean, okay, high school and up.
Yeah.
And yeah.
It had already been available for colleges based on your email address.
Right.
But 2006 became available to high school students and then the general public.
Weird. Okay. Huh. Which, man, I'm trying to remember. I wonder if I can even find like when I first originally even got on Facebook.
Well, it had to be after 2006, which would have made you how old?
Holy crap. Wait a minute. Ooh. I don't even know how to operate or get around my Facebook page anymore. Goodness. 2008, I think, is when I first made it.
Which would make sense because most social media companies do not allow anyone under the age of 13 to join.
Really?
If you are under the age of 13, your parent or legal guardian has to establish the account for you.
Huh.
That being said, most kids and teenagers just ignore that fact and create their accounts anyways.
Right. Which goes to the whole idea of having an age verification. How much does that even impact it? Unfortunately,
It'd be hard to do that for current accounts unless the law stated that they would have to do that.
to verify your age.
Yeah. It would probably be it probably wouldn't be retroactive on current accounts. Those accounts would probably be grandfathered in. They would have to do it on new accounts that were being opened. This would also do something else as well with that. And this is where I say 18 plus, but at the same time, I also understand this hurdle that comes up with it. For things like Facebook and that, where you want to be you, okay, that's fine that you tie it to your identity, your real life identity, right? But for maybe some other things where you maybe want to be a little more loosey-goosey anonymous, let's say, having to tie it all to a real identity or age verification of some sort, because how do you verify the age? ID, credit card. Well, how do you verify, right? That could then tie to a real identity, which could be bad in some cases. So I understand there are some implications and some challenges to think through. And I don't have all the answers yet, but guess what?
It's just a thought.
You're not the one, you're not paying me to come up with these answers. We're paying our politicians to come up with these answers.
Yeah, doing a great job.
I have a great solution. We have Biden go sniff them, and if he goes and walks away, goes too old, then they're 18 plus. Sorry. I might cut that out, but yeah.
I guess I'm yeah, you could do the whole like driver's license thing, because then obviously, yeah, all kids are gonna, most kids Will you get that at like what, 16? You can get that at 16?
Well, yeah, you can get your permit at 15, 15 and a half.
15 and a half.
Your driver's license at 16 in most states. Most states. There are some states where you can get a little bit earlier.
Wait, really? Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, wow.
But yes, but you could get that, right?
Yeah.
And then that ties into a government verification system, which I understand. I said I'm not 100% for that with like the porn thing when we talked about that, because then it's tying it back to your real identity. And I understand there's the contradiction there, and I don't know what to do. Because when I read studies, I read articles that say teens who cut their social media use in half see improvements in body image in just a month.
Yeah.
You're not talking about a year, 2 years, 3 years down the road.
No,
You're talking a month,
a
30 to 31 days.
Yeah.
And you have a 50% efficacy rate? If our COVID vaccine was that effective, we'd be great.
Right. Yeah. I guess, yeah, I don't see an issue with having to do like, what a driver. I mean, is your driver's license like ID that important, I guess? I don't know.
Where it becomes a problem with some people is they don't like it, that the fact that it hits a government database to verify your age. Because then if, let's say, Facebook wants to be nefarious for whatever reason, they could keep a copy of that information on file if they're not being truthful that they're getting rid of it. It's the same thing as in the argument against why using government ID for pornography age verification is a bad thing for those people who are against it. And I can see that argument, which is why I'm kind of like stuck in the middle. Like, I want to see the benefit, but at the same time, I understand the argument of why you don't want to use something like an ID that ties into the government, that the government can then say, oh, naughty, 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 you have a Facebook. We're now going to restrict you from doing anything because you threw a piece of paper on the ground, you crossed not at a crosswalk, you didn't say your Hail Bidens, you didn't say your whatever.
Whoa, wait.
Ties into that whole theory of the social credit score that like China does in that.
Yeah.
That's why I said, I get it, and I'm conflicted on it.
Mm-hmm. I guess my other thought is, as far as social media goes, I mean, you don't need social media to have access to the stuff that impacts you like social media does. I mean, just having access to the internet in general.
Right. I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
And I'm going to raise you something.
Yeah.
Okay. What these studies, and there's a couple, and I have 7 links pulled up here, and a couple of them have studies. This is stuff from Mayo Clinic, even Cleveland Clinic, stuff from NPR where they're talking about it. What they're finding is happening is people, male, female, doesn't matter, both genders.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, all of them.
Both genders.
Yeah.
They'll go online, let's say, right, and post a photo of themselves. And then they'll get a lot of response. Oh, you're so pretty, da 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 da, right? And then they're like, "Whoa, I'm getting all this attention. I need to go and do this again."
Right.
They go and do it again. They get less attention. Oh, I'm not as pretty. Then they do something. They alter something. Oh, you're so pretty. That dopamine hit continuously hit over and over and over again.
Yeah, it's getting
They're comparing themselves, and this is the part where I agree. Yes, they don't need social media for this next part. Where like they're comparing themselves to this model, or they're comparing themselves to this friend, or maybe, okay, Aaron, for example, right? You as a drummer, okay, if you were to sit there and compare yourself to Matt Griner,
oh my gosh,
every day, that's a little depressing.
Okay? Yeah,
I'm not saying you're a bad drummer at all. Okay.
Oh no, you don't have to. I already know it. I'm just kidding.
But you're sitting there comparing yourself to Matt Griner, who is top of the class.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, what a guy.
You are going to feel inferior.
Oh yeah. I probably would sell my stuff by now.
You are going to feel low the low. Okay.
Yeah.
It's the same people doing this, comparing themselves online. And it's bad enough that they're comparing themselves against their friends, but then they go and compare themselves against these quote unquote superstars out there.
Yeah.
And then they go, well, I'm not as pretty as insert model X or Y.
Mm-hmm.
What do I need to do to become like this? Well, this person over here is pretty. I have a big nose. I must get rid of that big nose. They have a high voice. I have a deeper voice. I have to do something to get that higher voice.
Mm-hmm.
Guys are not immune to this either. They look and they go, well, that guy has a 6-pack and he has all the girls. I better go get one. I'm not talking about a 6-pack of beer.
Oh. No, I know. I'm well aware. Yeah.
You know, you looked at, you go down the aisle, what do you see all the time, especially like the men's fitness magazines? How to get the abs, how to get the chest, how to get the arms, how to get the triceps,
how to look this good, but you can still eat what you want to eat.
Yeah, exactly.
Ugh.
So this is not a female only thing. This is a
No.
male and a female thing. Okay.
It is a human issue.
We compare ourselves to others, and then when we don't stack up to what we see in this photoshopped magazine,
That's even the best part. Yeah.
we say, what do I have to change about myself? I hate myself because I don't look like that. There was an article I read last night. It was called Photoshop Fails. You know, it's these people on Instagram that just look beautiful, right? Well, there was one. I wish I saved the article. There was one. It was this lady, Asian lady, looked beautiful in the photo, but then you looked in the reflection of the window.
Oh.
It was Jekyll and Hyde.
Yeah. Oh.
But if people never looked at that reflection and they only looked at her, they'd go, she's just so beautiful. I can't compete. I can't compare. And then they go down on themselves. When I say go down on themselves, they cut themselves down, or they may literally cut themselves.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And I wish I was making this stuff up. This article, again, from this is from Daily Mail, but there's similar things from Cleveland Institute, Mayo Clinic. They say this. They studied a group of teens who spent at least 2 hours per day on their phone. We're not talking 9+ hours. 2.
2 hours.
2.
Well, no. Okay, I'm trying to think of what the average.
We'll get to what the average teenager does in a little bit, okay?
Okay.
They said if those from that group of teens, they had them cut their usage in half for 1 month.
So just to an hour a day.
An hour, or if they were, like I said, it says at least 2, remember?
Yeah.
So some of them might be 3, some might be 4, blah, 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 okay? But they told them all, cut it in half. This includes Snapchat, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook.
Yeah, I was saying now, because TikTok is also, I was asking someone about that as far as like, so is like TikTok considered social media?
Oh yeah, it is definitely.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
So this group of teenagers was between the age of 17 and 25. So they call them teenagers, they're young adults still, okay?
Yeah.
They had them cut their time in half that they spent on these social media apps. All these teens going into this had symptoms of depression, anxiety, body image issues. You know, where, you know, you could look at someone and go, well, you know, you're a healthy weight. I am so fat. You know, me and you will maybe joke about that, and we're bigger guys.
Oh yeah.
Okay?
I know I am not healthy by any means.
Okay. But, you know, we're talking about someone who's maybe a healthy, good weight. And they'll be like, I'm so fat. We've all, if you've ever seen,
think of some people like that.
if you've ever seen Letterkenny,
Oh my gosh.
the 2 miles that comes back with Katie after her time in the city as a model, and they're just like talking about themselves about how chunky and fat they are and overweight they are. That is what we're talking. That's what I'm talking about. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So participants were asked to respond to a series of statements about their overall appearance and weight, and then complete a similar questionnaire at the end of the experiment. All right. During the first week of the study, participants were told to use social media as they normally would. Then half, so that what they're trying to do is they're trying to do a control group and a study group, okay? Half were instructed to try and reduce social media to no more than 60 minutes a day. For the next 3 weeks, those who were instructed to restrict their social media use reduced it by approximately 50% to an average of 78 minutes a day.
Ooh.
Okay. Meanwhile, the control group, those who weren't asked to change their usage at all, were told to use as normal. They averaged over 3 hours a day online. That's the average between the group. Now, they did this, and they published the results in the journal Psychology of Popular Media. And what they found was that those who reduced their time on social media had a significant improvement in how they regarded both their overall appearance and body weight.
Huh.
The control group, however, recorded no change.
Right.
Youth are spending on average between 6 to 8 hours per day on screens. Most of that on social media, according to this study. 6 to 8 hours a day.
Wow. I guess I wonder how much I do on my phone. Shoot. Or I guess just screen time in general, but
See, your phone, because my phone has the same software, you can turn on something where it will give you a report every week, and it'll tell you, is your screen usage increasing or decreasing for the week?
I had that one, gosh, I want to say it was like last week or so. It said I had used it, I think it was close to like a half hour less than I did the week before. I was like, okay. But like, trying to, I'll have to look at that at some point just to see what it's saying right now.
It's an interesting metric to look at.
Yeah.
Now, I realize for me, this isn't always going to be an accurate number because, for example, the last 2 nights, I found that I've left my phone on playing like YouTube overnight.
Oh,
so that counts against my screen on time. You know?
Right.
So my numbers are a little skewed with that. But if you find a way to take that out, then we could find out my information. But anyways, back to the study. They said this was just a 4-week trial run for these teenagers, young adults. And they said they saw this significant improvements in their overall well-being. Okay. Now you get over to somewhere like the Mayo Clinic. You know the Mayo Clinic, right?
Yeah.
What's the Mayo Clinic known for?
What's it known for?
Yeah. It's known for being one of the top
okay.
hospitals in the U.S.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
They published this article back in February 26th, 2022. So 1 year ago today.
Okay.
Literally.
Nice.
Literally 1 year ago today, right?
Yeah.
What they wrote is this. The Pew Research Center in 2018 discovered that of 13 to 7-year-olds, they found that 45% are online almost constantly and 97% use a social media platform.
Yeah, I believe that. I mean, just going into my local pick and save, it's crazy to see all the younger kids.
Yeah.
I guess that are employees there. How many of them, especially the ones like at the self checkout sections, they're all just sitting there
on
looking at their phone.
Yeah, it's become a common thing of, I don't know what to do right now. I'm bored. Let me look at my phone.
Yeah,
and I'll admit I'm guilty of this at times too.
It's for me. Okay. I've noticed, and that's where there's been times where I'll put my phone away at work because if I have it out sitting out next to me, sitting or whatever, I'll be doing a task, double tap my screen real quick, look at it, keep going at my task, and then like not even a minute afterwards, I'll just go back to it and click on it. As if to check the time, I'm like, dude, I literally just did that a second ago. So it's like I'll turn it over, put it off to the side, and try and get away from it because it's one of those things where you're always waiting to see something new. What's next?
You're looking for that dopamine hit.
Yeah,
that's exactly what it is.
Is that okay? Yeah, I guess if that's all it is,
it's that reward. It's that reward system. It's the system where you go online, you see something new, it's either exciting or you like it or whatever, and you get that little dopamine hit, and that's your body's mentally giving yourself a reward. And so you seek out that next thing that's going to give you that reward. What's that next thing? What's the next thing? What's the next thing? What's that next thing? It's a reward cycle.
How is that?
That's why social media works so well. They figured it out that it will give you that little dopamine hit. It'll make you feel good, and that means you're going to keep coming back for it because you keep wanting to feel good. It's the
like
same,
alcohol.
It's like alcohol.
It's any drug.
Well, yes, it's also like the porn industry as well.
Yeah.
They figured that out.
Yeah.
That's why people who are addicted to pornography keep going to more and more depraved things as they go on, because the things that they are addicted to, the things that they're viewing all the time, do not give them as big of a high, a dopamine high as they did before. Yep. And that's why you have people going, well, yeah, I started with porn when I was 12, but you know what? Nothing got me excited anymore. So now I'm into tranny porn.
Yeah.
That's not an uncommon story to hear.
No.
It's because they need that dopamine. I continued on with this this Mayo Clinic study, right?
Yeah.
Some of these things in here that they talk about are just wow. Okay. A 2019 study found that 12 to 15-year-olds in the US, that a majority of them spend more than 3 hours a day using social media. And if they spend more than 3 hours a day using social media, they are at a heightened risk for mental health problems. Another 2019 study of more than 12,000 13 to 16-year-olds in England found that using social media more than 3 times a day predicted poor mental health and well-being in teens. Another study observed a link between high levels of social media use and depression or anxiety. A 2016 study found that the greater the social media use, especially at nighttime,
Especially at night.
yep, and then social media use and emotional investment in social media, like you're like, oh, I love this creator, I have to whatever. And they also said, such as feeling upset when they were prevented from logging on. Facebook is down. Oh no, I can't post my picture.
Describe your Starbucks to me. Oh my gosh.
All of these things were linked to worse sleep quality and higher levels of anxiety and depression. A 2015 study found that social comparison and feedback seeking by teens using social media and cell phones was linked with depressive symptoms. In addition, a study in 2013 found that older adolescents who use social media passively, such as by just viewing others' photos, reported declines in life satisfaction.
Whoa. That's it?
It does say, however, those who use social media to interact with others or post their own content didn't experience these declines.
Hold up. So people that just view it to see others get depressed or have all those things.
Yep.
But if you're one posting,
They didn't see those declines in that study.
that's weird, because what about people that post and don't get reactions?
Then they would probably be on the more passive side because they're not interacting. Because it does say interacting
Right.
and posting their own content.
Yeah. And then there's me just scrolling through, seeing what everybody else is doing and all the new
Which,
bands. I'm like,
according to that study, would mean you have a lower satisfaction in life. Another study on the
Solid.
impact of social media on undergraduate college students showed that the longer they used Facebook, the stronger their belief was that others were happier than they were. But the more time these students spent going out with their friends, the less they felt this way. In other words, the less time they're in front of Facebook viewing what other people were doing for life and how others
just
were living and having fun. And they
doing
were
their
out.
own stuff.
Exactly.
Made it so much better. That makes a lot of sense. That's, I guess, I wonder if that would change for people viewing it if, well, if they believe and understand the whole thing of, obviously most of social media is just it's showing the good moments that people want to share. Like, you don't see all unless somebody loves posting sad sobby,
Right.
sad stuff on the internet for, at that point almost wondering if it's for attention or not.
Well,
I wonder if, like, you understand that, okay, well, they're showing the exciting stuff of their life. Obviously, everybody has issues. So it's, I guess, in a sense, to compare yourself like that. It's like, or realize that they're just more happier than you and they never seem to have issues. But again, at the same time, you can look at how often they're posting, and depending on how often they're posting cool, exciting stuff, it's like, oh, well, they must just be much better off.
unless they're
I am.
TikTok users. Because then this study came about in 2021. And this came from, was highlighted by the Cleveland Clinic. Okay. Another top hospital here in the US.
Yeah.
They talk about a study that highlights how children who use TikTok are developing tics and have tick-like attacks. They're experiencing a movement disorder brought on by stress and anxiety. And they said it was probably made worse by the pandemic and teens' increased social media consumption. And they link to the study that talks about this, where they're seeing in teenagers and younger children who are consuming a lot of TikTok videos or even posting them, all this like tick-like behavior. You know what a tick is, right?
Just like random,
like a random movement
and,
or word.
in a sense, like a Tourette's-y kind of.
Yeah. They also talk about how increased use of this social media stuff, right? causes changes to children's daily behavior, such as increased irritability, increased anxiety, and lack of self-esteem, which we've talked about from the Mayo Clinic as well. So
Right.
Cleveland Clinic is highlighting the same exact thing. They're specifically talking about TikTok in this case, but it's another one of those social media apps.
I'm gonna send this stuff to my sister. My nephews are gonna hate me.
Yeah.
What the heck, Uncle Aaron? Like, get off the phone. That's man.
In both Mayo and Cleveland Clinic, one of the things they say to do, for a parent, determine if your child is ready first off. Just don't be like, oh, you're 13, you may go on social media now, which is like the lower age for most social media companies, right?
Yeah.
But also talk to your kids about what's going on, because there's other things that can happen online with social media that the Cleveland Clinic highlights, such as cyberbullying, online predators, sharing too much information, especially if they're the ones posting content.
Mm-hmm.
They could be victims of false marketing, and also, well, like think back to the Tide Pods, dangerous viral trends that are popular. And you want to do that for popularity. But both of them also say, what's a great thing you should do, especially if you have teens? Limit their screen time.
Screen time. Yep.
The American Academy of Pediatrics recommends limiting screen time to 2 hours a day for children.
So does it specify as what the age range for or what a child is?
In this case, they're talking about up to 18.
Up to 8. Huh. Okay. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. And they do say, sometimes obviously you're going to need more, sometimes you're going to need less, depending on the situation. That's up to you as a parent, as a guardian to make
Right.
that determined. But they do say it's not always just the fact that it's screen time. It's what the screen time is in place of. Is that becoming your number one priority, or are you neglecting these other things? And they say it's all too common that they have that irritability, especially in children. They have this quote here: if kids are being asked to get off social media and do their homework, then parents might see increased periods of irritability or frustration directed towards the parents. They're being asked to do something they don't want to do and stop doing something they enjoy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was one thing someone had brought up when I was talking to him about this.
Okay.
But it was instead of having like an age restriction on social media and stuff like that, it's parents just don't do their job in being a parent to their kids. Like, it's the parental side of things is not too great. Parents just don't care.
Yeah. I get it. We're all busy. And I'm saying this
Yeah.
as a guy who has no children,
Right.
except for you.
What? What? Nuh-uh.
Sometimes it feels like you're my child at times.
Yes.
Okay, let's be honest here. But in reality, I have no children, okay? So I'm saying this as someone with no children, and I get that. And parents are like, well, you have no idea what it's like. You're right, I
I
don't.
don't know. But
But at the same time, I hate to say this and hate to break the bubble to you or break the bad news, whatever the phrasing you want to use, depending on how old you are.
Burst your bubble.
You are a parent. They are the kid. They
Yeah.
can get upset and cry about what it is that they don't get to have. I'm sorry. You don't get to go see your TikTok floss dance for the 5 millionth time today. It's okay. Go do your homework.
But I can't big enough for that one.
And obviously I'm saying TikTok floss because that's probably an older trend, but there's probably something on there now that's popular and happening in TikTok land. I don't know. I don't have a TikTok account, so I don't know. Even though Christian Podcast Association keeps saying, "Oh, you have to get a TikTok account," I'm like, no, I am not getting on that trash wagon.
No.
Okay.
No, not worth it.
So there's probably something that's popular and trendy on there right now. But guess what?
Yeah.
Instead of seeing the 5 millionth stitch or whatever you call it, where you have two videos side by side, go outside and listen to some music, play in the grass, or I don't know, walk down to a buddy's house and talk to a friend in person and not over Skype.
Oh, well, I mean, they can watch TikTok together.
Then I hope that other parent at the same time has screen limit time. But you're right in that regard. We need parents to be parents.
Yeah.
We don't need parents to be friends of their kids.
No. Is it awesome if that can happen? Yeah.
I
guess I would say that's probably most likely something that just happens over time as they get older.
That happens
when
over
the
time
kids,
when they're older.
yeah,
You
when they can sit down together and have that first beer with one another and stuff like that.
and I look at it this way. When your kid is 5 and throwing a temper tantrum, they don't need a friend, they need a parent.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
When you, Mr. Johnson, were younger and maybe doing
Okay.
something that you shouldn't
All right.
have, you didn't need me to be necessarily a friend. You needed me to be someone, be like, Aaron, what the heck is going on? That doesn't mean I'm not going to help you with whatever it was.
Yeah.
But it wasn't oh, I'm sorry you're going through that. Let's just sing Kumbaya.
Well-
It was, Aaron, you're an idiot. and I mean, you have had that conversation, how it's gone from now that you're older. And I just had this conversation with Jonah as well, actually.
Oh, really?
You are no longer,
Nice.
it's no longer this mentor-mentee, older person to younger person thing anymore. Now you're more on that friendship level. And I consider 21 kind of like that cutoff age for at least me with you younger guys. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
That's where it is for me. And I imagine with parents, it's probably the same thing. At a certain age, they can go, you know what? Hey, I don't have to parent these kids anymore. They're old enough. I can be their friend. But while they're growing up, while they're still under 18, living in your house, they don't need a friend. They need a parent. And I get it. I don't know how many times I have to say it. I'm not a parent myself. I've had to parent Aaron. I've had to parent Josh at times, but I am not a parent. So yes, you can go, well, you don't get it. I know.
Well-
That's fine. But guess what?
Yeah.
The fact that I have to sit here and go, you need to stop screwing up your kids and stop being their friend and be their parent, and I can see that from the outside, is a bad thing.
I guess, and I don't know, just for me thinking about it right now is, I mean, even as a friend, you would hopefully have those moments. I mean, because obviously, I guess I'd say we're friends, right?
Yes.
But at certain times, if this one being me is being stupid, kind of lay down the law, bring out the little smack or whatever.
Right.
So I guess as far as that goes, it's like for parents, it's like I don't know, maybe I'm just being weird about it, but it's not being afraid to be harsh and corrective.
But
They
here's
just want to be the gentle, lovey,
here's the difference. Here's the difference.
yeah,
Me and you have built up this friendship over many, many years.
right. Well,
Okay. There is a
right.
lot of trust. There is
Yes.
a lot of, we understand each other a lot better than, before, right? You're talking like a 5-year-old who's throwing a temper tantrum. It doesn't matter how nice you are with it. Sometimes you just have to say, stop.
Yeah,
Sometimes you just have to be the parent and say, stop. And sometimes there are situations when especially if you have kids, where you just have to be the parent and say, stop.
knock it off.
There are times, even between me and you, man, when we're friends,
Yeah.
when one of us might have to lay down the law a little bit, okay?
Yeah.
And that could happen both ways.
Mhm.
And that's the beauty. Here's the thing. Here's the difference between a friendship and a parent. Friendship is 2 ways.
Right. Yeah. Parent is definitely
Parent is one way. And if your kid is confused, if you're a parent or a friend, like
Mhm.
especially when they're under 18 and still growing up, that's a problem. There's no authority there. I know we want to try to raise these kids
I get
up,
that.
and we want to try to show them the right way. And we're overcorrecting, I would say. We're talking like people who grew up in my generation or younger, or maybe a little bit younger than me, who had very super strict parents.
Mhm.
And then they want to try to swing the pendulum the other way because they're like, oh, I don't want my kids to grow up the way I did. And they're
But it's like,
swinging
look
it,
where you are now.
and they're swinging it
Yeah.
way too far.
Yeah.
And I have a feeling these kids, when they grow up, Some of them are going to swing back the other way again.
Be very strict.
It's not going to be in that middle. It's going to keep flowing back and forth. Okay.
Cool swing.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
that's,
Okay.
that's why I said, we need parents, not friends for these.
Yeah. That makes sense.
I mean, you continue looking at the data from these various studies. Psychology Today highlights this very well. Here's what they say. They reviewed 19 studies of young people, not young adults, from ages 11 to 20 in social media usage, right? They identified 4 major themes in these studies, between these 19 studies. The first theme, connections. And they found that in some cases, yeah, it's great, useful to keep in touch with like family and friends, but they're having trouble then making connections in real life. Okay. The second thing they found is that social media, and they found this in 13 of the papers, 13 of the 19, found that social media harmed their connecting. Oh, I did say connecting with others. And this was either through them not knowing how to make that connection, or they're being bullied, or they're receiving threats, or they were always being criticized, or they always had negativity during their social media interactions. And they cited the anonymity of social media as part of the problem, as well as miscommunication, because social media, most of it is, at least like Facebook and Twitter, and that's text only. It's really easy to misconstrue a message when it's text only and you have no context of the tone and all that behind it, right? The second theme is that they identified adolescents who felt frustrated on social media in trying to develop their identities. And this course, they're talking about either their sexual identities or their, identities as for their religion that they're following, or whatever part of you as your identity or cultural identity and all that. The third theme describes how social media supports or hinders education. And in fact, they found studies that said, hey, people are doing worse because they're spending so much time on social media. They weren't doing their homework. They weren't spending time to studying. They were losing interest in their passions and their hobbies because they, instead of going and practicing, they'd sit there and scroll through social media feeds.
Right.
The last thing they found was that it says in nearly all of the 19 papers, participants said social media was a source of worry and pressure. Participants expressed concern about judgment from their peers. They often felt embarrassed about how they looked in images, and most participants expressed concern that they were addicted to social media.
Yeah.
This goes back to Mayo Clinic. This goes back to the Cleveland Clinic saying, limit that screen time.
2 hours a day. Wow.
Yeah. And then you look at this university from Australia, they said adolescent brains are still developing. It's more vulnerable to time online. And since teens can sometimes struggle to self-regulate their screen time, their exposure and the risk of harm increases. As a result, teen social media use often correlates with depression, anxiety, low self-esteem, envy, loneliness. In the most interconnected world we have through social media, where you can get on TikTok, Facebook, WhatsApp, Instagram, whatever choice of communication method you want, you feel alone and isolated. And I get that. I'm not saying this is a very unique or thing. Talk with anyone with depression and they will go, I can sit in a room with hundreds and feel isolated. But the fact that we have this now as part of our online teen culture, no wonder why depression is going through the roof in teenagers. No wonder why people struggle with their self-identity, with their self-worth, and with hating themselves. And when you look at the data that Australia has, and here's the thing, they studied Australian kids, right? Their kids are spending way less time on social media, and they're still seeing that issue. In Australia, girls aged 14 to 24 spend on average of 822 minutes of social media each week, or about 2 hours a day. Boys aged 14 to 24 spend 528 minutes a week, just over 1 hour per day, for a grand total of 1.6 hours per day on average between boys and girls in Australia.
And they're still having that issue, though.
Yes.
So,
in other words, what they're getting at, even with that lower screen time, these issues still persist.
Right. So then at that point, then it's like, does it even matter then how much you limit it? I mean, granted, obviously seeing that, limiting it compared to what was the normal amount has already decreased some of the depression, anxiety, and some of that. Well, as you said, there's like with the self-image and whatnot.
Right.
I mean, and they would be viewing it potentially just as much as people normally do in Australia.
This is
'Cause
why I said my conclusion first. My conclusion is 18 plus.
yeah, I guess I'm not one, I could care less because I mean, I use social media to see what like ban information,
Mhm.
see what some, friends are doing, sort of. I mean, the ones that I really pay attention to, and talk to people. I used to post. I barely post stuff. I don't remember the last time I've made a post about something. I don't think I use it that much. But that's interesting.
Yeah. And
I,
so
uh,
here's this last article I'm going to bring up here. This is from the Newport Academy, and they have a lot of treatment options for people who are maybe depressed or addicted in that, right?
mhm.
This is what they found. And this is what they write in one of their articles. And this is indicated of what keeps teenagers up at night, so to speak. 35% of teenagers on social media worry about being tagged in unattractive photos. This leads to some of their anxiety and their depression in that, right? 27 are stressed about how they look when they post pictures. If you've ever seen, making fun of the person, kid taking all the pictures, and be like, oh, yep, that's a good one. Yeah, that's reality. 22% feel bad about themselves when nobody comments on or likes their photos. They also found
I was just thinking of just some of those things about people worry about whatever a certain like pictures getting posted where I will say there was one picture that got posted of me on Facebook that at first I wasn't excited about. I didn't care for being up on the internet, but at the end of the day, I just laughed and thought it was funny. Now it's what I could care less. But it's where I'm at. It was at John's parents' house, and I fell asleep. And I don't know if they set it up or if I naturally did this on my own. I can't remember which one they said was how it went down, but, like, my shirt kinda, like, came up, like, I was sleeping on the couch, and for whatever reason, I put my finger in my belly button. I was just sitting there sleeping with my finger in my belly button, and they took a picture, just dying laughing, and then John, yeah, he ended up posting that on Facebook just for, like, a what did he do that for when it was, like, the whole Man Crush Monday thing? And then he posted a picture of me. He's like, "Just because I know I can get away with this because of how close of friends we are kinda thing, you won't hate me that much." I was like, "Oh," I was like, "That's a great one for people to see of me, whatever."
oh, I was thinking it was gonna be
But
someone posted the naked mole rat picture of you.
wait, what?
You shaved?
It doesn't exist.
Uh,
Gosh, there is that on Facebook too, I think somewhere. But I was just thinking, I was like, "Alright." So there's probably been one time where I was just like, people are gonna see that." But now I look back, it's like, dude,
now you
it
blame.
doesn't matter. And with, like, the whole thing of yeah, I guess I'll say even I mean, I don't know, I mean, this should be of no surprise, but it's like, yeah, I've had moments where it's like, yeah, you post one thing, it's like, "Oh, wow. Didn't expect this many people to interact with it or like it and comment on it or whatever," and then you post something and you're like, "Oh, this will be a good one." And then you just get a couple, it's just like, "Oh, alright."
Yeah.
But and it's just funny to me and how I get why people get so hung up on it because it is a whole accepted and
Anyways, I want to read this
yeah, read the paragraph.
paragraph.
Read it.
So, Newport Academy,
Newport.
they're like they're a addiction mental health recovery place for teenagers in the United States. That's what they are.
Okay.
So, in other words, this is their business to know how to make sure the teens are healthy mentally because they help them recover for these things, all right?
Right.
So, here's what they write. Many experts believe that the constant overstimulation of social networking shifts the nervous system into fight or flight mode. As a result, this makes disorders such as ADHD, teen depression, oppositional defiant disorder, and teen anxiety worse.
Fight or flight.
Yeah.
What? Okay.
They also write when teens are depressed, they have found that they look at social media more often. In one study of young people, researchers found that social media use did not predict depressive symptoms, but greater depressive symptoms predicted more social media use over time.
Shoot. When I get depressed, I just feel like sleeping all the time.
Right there with you. Right there with you on the sleep one. But so that's why I as we go through this, I'm like, this is why I start with my conclusion. 18 plus for social media.
Yeah.
A teenager's brain is developing over time. And we are, in essence, experimenting on teenage brains
Right.
with social media, dopamine reward feedback loops. And there's no need for it. Guess what? A teen that doesn't have Facebook between the ages of 13 and 18 will grow up just fine.
But what about all the stuff they might miss out on? By
What? Their depression, their anxiety, their self-hatred, their
See,
loathing, their wanting to hurt themselves, their
I
comparing
wish
themselves to others. What if that just sounds good for them to miss out on?
all of it. No. I guess now thinking about that though as well as has that ever not existed with teens?
It hasn't been as easy to do.
It hasn't been as I guess as amplified as
Be-
it is now.
because nowadays kids are pretty much, and I like to joke about it, but it seems real. Kids are pretty much born with a phone in their hands.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
They can look up whatever information they want on the internet, compare
Mhm.
themselves to whatever celebrity.
Yeah.
Before, Aaron, let's say, for example, you wanted to compare yourself against like some fitness guru, right? You'd have to go to the store, find the magazine, buy it,
Well,
cut it out, post it up on the wall,
Yeah.
do the comparison, whatever. Now, there's nothing to stop you. You just go bloop, bloop, bloop. Let me search. Oh, I found
but
it.
then
Okay.
is that social media or is that just internet access and all that kind of stuff?
I love it's probably on social media because it's probably more likely that you know where they're finding it on Instagram, Facebook, Reddit, those places.
Hmm.
I said more than likely. It's possible to find that stuff off site, off
well,
social, right?
Yeah, I mean, I guess when I just pop up the internet browser on the computer, it's got all these different stories and all these other things going on and
Right.
ideas of how to achieve this and or
But at the same time,
things to buy and look who owns this and so
Yeah,
it's like it's
but at the same time,
right
as
there.
part of the things they're also talking about, right? About the people who don't get likes or comments on their pictures.
I say that's the only thing I can see is people not getting that response from others.
Also, and I'm being honest here, if we didn't have
Mhm.
social media, right?
Mhm.
You wouldn't see a lot of times what your friends are doing or people you have tangential relationship or somehow know from a distance are doing all the time 24/7. Can't go
See, I
down the
don't
newsfeed and be like,
yeah,
now,
I don't know
now
that right now.
bands and that they could still post to like their own websites and that, people who have a technical know-how
Oh,
could still do that. But
yeah.
it's not going to be centralized in one feed.
Right. I guess well, and that's the thing I would say is different is like checking up on a band and seeing posts by them versus looking for what either friends or other
Mhm.
I guess individuals are posting would be different than seeing, oh, where's this band at or what are they doing and stuff like that. But
See, you got to remember you're not growing up in the prime of this social media stuff too. As they point out here at Newport Academy,
mhm.
and I love this little thing in their FAQ. Is social media really addictive? That was the
Uh-huh.
question, okay? Here's their answer. Scientists have found that teen social media overuse creates a
Mhm.
stimulation pattern similar to the pattern created by other addictive behaviors. The brain releases dopamine when a teen posts something online and is met with likes, shares, and positive comments from their
Yes.
peers.
Yes.
This can prime the teen brain for other addictions.
I guess, yeah. Is it one of those things where it just introduces kids into things sooner?
Yes, but and this is why I also said teenage brains, young adult brains are still
Mhm.
developing.
Yeah.
That's why we don't allow them to drink alcohol. That's why we don't allow them access to other things that we allow adults access to.
Yeah, right.
Okay?
Not anymore, at least.
Right. Because we know that it has an impact on the development of their brain.
Mm-hmm.
Triggering a dopamine cycle like that, that's priming them pretty good to be addicted to stuff.
Yeah.
We shouldn't there's reasons why even back in the day,
Mm-hmm.
before the internet, why the back room at the family video was 18 plus only still.
Wait, isn't it not now?
Well, I'm saying even before the internet, before
Oh,
porn was
okay,
freely
I was like,
available
what?
everywhere. We didn't just allow kids to go in there. It was even back then, it was still 18 plus because we understood that there are certain things that are for adults where we agree with it from a Christian perspective or not.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's still things that we realize do impair the development of a healthy, functional adult. And I look at it from all these lenses first, and then I look at it from like the Christian perspective. One of the things that even I forget which article it is. I'd have to go back through them off the top. I don't remember off the top of my head, but one of them even hinted at it and said it. It produces feelings of envy towards others. Even based off of that, I go, well, that tells me something right there. That is, I'm not saying social media is sinful.
Oh,
okay,
no.
so don't take it that way.
No.
But it is for someone who is maturing, potentially an avenue where sinful behavior could be introduced because they're either envious, not envious of someone or something else. They may be, wanting it, whatever for themselves. They may be lusting after whatever.
Yeah.
So even from the Christian side of things, I look at them like, yes, social media in itself is not sinful, but it could be used for that. I'm not saying let's, ban social media altogether. It has been
we would
it
have
has
to
been
ban so
useful.
much.
Yes, I know. It has been useful, but let's maybe take a step back and realize, hey, you know what? Maybe kids need to not be in this until they're older.
Yeah.
I would personally say for me, 18 plus. But you know what? We don't have any legislation in the land
No.
for it. And at that point, it's a conversation between you as a parent and your kids on
Which,
what they're
yeah.
allowed to do.
And that's where, that's assuming that's, I guess, where it's kind of sad thing to think about for me. Whereas it should be that easy where it's like, all right, it's up to the parent to have that discussion and that communication or whatever with their kid. But because parents don't seem to care to do that, kids are just free to do whatever they want to go and do. And yeah, that's where, as far as even just social media goes, yeah, I guess it would be great to see some sort of potential limitation or, yeah, age restriction for it. But then at the same time, I'm thinking it would be curious to see how much things would change, I suppose, for obviously looking at the studies, how there has been improvements just over a month of reduced time.
Mm-hmm.
So I wonder if that would, I guess, how much that would change, I suppose. Because my biggest thing is just thinking, just the internet in general, for a lot of the whole comparison stuff. The only thing you're taking away potentially is the reactions you get from people. You can still see and compare yourself to so much stuff on the internet
Right.
that'll give you anything that social media is giving you.
For the comparison part, but it's not going to give you all the other stuff of, oh, I posted a
You,
picture
but
and
yeah, but you'll get
so-and-so
that
didn't like
in
me.
public though.
There's something different about that in public than versus social media.
Well, it's a lot more intense.
But it teaches you so much more.
What do you mean teaches you so? That's where it's
It
like,
teaches you how to interact with people
yeah,
better
but
than social
yes.
media.
Well, you get to pick up physical, like body language and stuff like that. It's
Yeah.
not just text. Well, that's where I say it's like it'd be a lot more intense, and you're taking a bigger, I would say, in some sense, a bigger step and having, I guess, more confidence in what you're doing by going about doing something in public versus just posting something online. I would imagine it having more ramifications and publicly, like physically in person, than just having
Oh no,
reactions online.
I think it would have less Here's why.
Yeah.
You post something on the internet, it's there forever.
Okay.
Because even if you take it
Yeah.
take it down, I could archive it.
Yeah.
And guess what? It's still there. You do it in person,
People could take a picture of it and it's
if
forever.
if people take a picture, but if they don't, then people forget about it.
Yeah.
Things are
Well,
forgetful over
that's
time.
the thing that's not going to happen now, though, because of the internet. Because people, you look at how much people have phones and they're always ready to take a picture or a video of something wild that happens and then they post it on the internet. So, in that sense, none of that stuff will ever go away.
But there are a lot of people who are not always, I bet you,
Yeah.
you are not ready to take a picture at a moment's notice. There are some
Me
people
personally, no.
There are people, obviously, who have made their job content creators. They
Right.
always have their gear ready to go. I get that, okay?
Yeah.
But
Well, not even, you don't even have to be a content creator for some of this stuff. I mean, you just look at stuff that gets on in the news and whatnot, and just images of, well, some of it, obviously, when it comes to the crimes, is like surveillance camera stuff.
right, and some of it they just happen to catch, or they miss the first few seconds of it because they're fumbling to get their cameras on that.
Right. But you'll still get some of them, you'll get the idea or the basis of what's going on. I mean, I think about that. Granted, this was also a crime, and it pisses me off that people decided to take their phones out and record it instead of beating the dude. But wasn't there a guy raping somebody on a train or whatever it was?
Yeah.
It's like people are going to take their phone out and record it before they actually interact and stop something.
Yeah, that's a whole other conversation on that one.
Well,
on why people weren't willing to do that.
Oh, well, yeah, but I'm just saying, like, because, yeah, I mean, you go out and do something in public, people will be like, oh, catch you. I mean, that's all it takes is 2 clicks, hit a button, and then boom.
That's on your phone.
Well, any smartphone.
Not any smartphone, but regardless
Basically.
of
It's
the fact,
very easy to do. If you have your phone, you know your phone, and use that feature, then
yeah,
it'll be quick and easy for you to do that. But, so that's where I think, even if social media was gone, in a sense, just because the internet is there, it's not.
But my question is this: how
Yeah.
much has social media warped our usage of the internet towards
well,
what it
that-
is now?
Yes. Yeah.
That is why I think we use the internet like we do, essentially one big gigantic Facebook, and not the internet as is an interconnected system of computers for facts and data.
Yeah. Right.
That's
without-
honestly why I think we use it the way we do. It's because
Mhm.
Facebook and Twitter and all that have just manipulated it to such a degree that we just
Mhm.
are posed like this.
Yeah.
And
Which-
that's just my opinion.
Oh, I'm not gonna. I couldn't disagree with that off the top of my head.
But the one thing that keeps coming back to mind over and over and over again as we go through this, and as I read these articles and as we discuss this more and more,
mhm,
it is the concept of we as humans,
mhm.
as Americans, and Americans are responsible for this, thanks Zuckerberg. But we as humans have made essentially Facebook our new god.
Oh,
Is
well,
the thing
wow,
we.
that's-
No, I'm saying it in this way. It's what we spend a lot of money,
Mhm.
time,
on-
and devotion to.
Oh, 100%. I mean, anything can become that.
Yeah, anything
to
could, but
well, each individual could be different. But I mean, yeah, on a grand scale,
exactly on a grand scale of things,
Mhm.
we need to look at what we're spending our time and our resources on. And honestly, I guarantee you, Christians are just 100% as guilty as the next person. Okay,
Mhm.
we devote a lot of time to social media.
Mhm.
Because let me. I'm going to say this statement for me. I'm
Mhm.
not going to speak for you, Aaron, in this regard.
Good. Don't.
Okay, is a lot easier to pick up a social media app and scroll and read and be outraged or entertained or whatever, but read and
Mhm.
read pages worth
Of junk.
than to pick up a physical Bible or even a digital Bible and read.
Yeah, because then you actually challenge your mind on stuff.
And that tells me, and I'm just as guilty as the next person. I'm not like saying, oh, we go, blah, blah, blah. I'm
No,
calling
yeah.
myself out on this one as well.
Mhm.
Okay. Where it's just as easy to do that, which means we lost the point. Social media is not to be the God. It is to be
Oh,
the entertainment and connection between people.
mhm.
And God is supposed to be God. And that social media thing is when we have 5 minutes or be like, hey, I'm at an event with friends. I want to document that I'm at an event. Or,
Mhm.
hey, I'm going to set up this thing. Do you all want to come to this and do this?
Right.
Not, all right, let's heat an entire data center because I keep scrolling through Facebook for 5 hours on end.
Getting stuck in those shorts and the reels.
Okay.
My goodness. Yeah. Yeah.
And like I said, I'm just as guilty at times. So,
That's why. Ooh, yeah, that's why I hopped off of Facebook for one reason was all those stupid short videos and stuff like that. I was like, I've spent how long on this? Never again. Now Facebook has strictly become my Wednesday night like group chat thing with friends, and that's about it.
oh, so you're like my mother.
What? Great. Um, yeah. Yeah. It's
So yeah, we need to,
it's
as a society, we need to reconcile how much time and energy we're putting into social media, and
I'm
we need
just
to,
saying, man, screen time in general.
yes, that too.
Just all across everything. Shoot. Because I mean, that'd be the next worst thing would be like video games for me for teens and stuff. Is like, oh, this is so much. Well, Fortnite for my nephews. Um, but yeah, it's just literally parents being parents and making sure that they do what they need to do and can enjoy the pleasures of the screens
Right.
in a, you know, sensible manner, I suppose.
And you know what? As parents being parents, guess what you get to do?
Yell at the kids.
No, you don't get to yell. Set limitations on things.
Yes.
Use the tools available for you.
That's yeah, and that's the thing.
If you have a
Mhm.
modern smartphone, guess what you can do, especially if they're under 18? You can set a lock on, like, say, hey, guess what? I'm going to set a goal here that, let's see here, YouTube can be used for this many hours per day.
Mhm.
These apps can be used for certain hours per day. And guess what? If you don't want your kid using social media,
You can block that.
you can block it.
Yeah.
Use the tools that are available for you. And guess what? If you're someone who is addicted to a social media app where you're like, I can't always have to get my fix, have a trusted person, buddy, family member,
Yeah.
whatever, set up parental controls that they know the code for on your
And
phone,
you don't.
and you don't. And guess what? Bye bye, social media apps.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to take those extreme steps,
Yeah.
and sometimes those things are needed.
Yeah. Absolutely. I've um I know yeah, I know my sister and them they have a whole like timed system thing set up for the kids and whatnot. Can't you even go you can go into like what your network settings and manage like what kind of content is available for you to go on to.
Oh yeah, and you can even set at least depends on your Wi-Fi system. My Wi-Fi
Yeah.
system, right? I can set like if I had kids, I don't have kids, but if I had kids, I could set all their devices into a group
Mhm.
and then be like, okay, at this time, let's say it's dinner time, right? Boom, all of your internet access goes off.
Yes. Yeah. It's so funny.
So then that way they don't get a chance to use it.
They have to get creative with their mind and think of other things to do if they still want to do something.
Exactly. And so that's what I said. Use the tools available to you as a parent and figure out how to do these things.
Mhm.
And guess what? At first, it's going to be difficult. At first, there's probably going to be some yelling and some screaming. Though you don't love me.
Oh my
What
gosh.
kid has never said? What kid has not said
My
that when
my
they're younger?
I watched my niece throw a fit like that because of something that, yeah, my sister didn't do or wouldn't let her do. And then dad came home and sister was like, "Talk to her." But, yeah, I remember this wasn't over it's funny because like, this wasn't over using So, I mean, I was too young at this time to have social media and internet or
Right.
really do anything on the internet, but I remember my mom had forgot, well, she fell asleep and lost track of time, I was just sleeping, to take me to youth group, and I remember for whatever reason, for once, I was so excited to go to youth group, and then I woke her up, I was like, "Mom, is it time to go?" And she's like, "It's too late," and I just threw a fit. I was screaming, I was like, "I hate you," and I was in my room, and then my sister heard that. Ooh, she she gave me one heck of a stern talking.
Say, did she
It's like, "You
whoop
do
you?
not say that to your mom," doing all this other stuff, and I was like, I'm so
Well,
sorry." See, it's kids need that. They need to be corrected. My
yeah.
goodness,
They need
otherwise,
parents, not friends.
yeah. Well, see, that was my sister, and we
I
all
know.
siblings can come in handy too if they're really
Yep.
with you, you know?
So, any other comments,
Oh, I've got more
disagreements on this?
oh gosh, there's just another aspect of, social media that, I was thinking about where it's for as far as, like, posting and stuff like that,
Yeah.
should there be any sort of, which this would be a lot more tough to do, but it made me it came up, I was talking about, like, kinda like the pedophile rings and stuff like that
Oh, yeah.
happening, where it's like, moms will post pictures of their daughters and kids and sons and stuff like that. Mainly girls that are in, like, kinda like little, like, dancing classes or, like, beauty pageant-y stuff,
Yeah.
and there's just all the madness that goes on where it's like these creepy dudes are all over that kinda stuff.
And that's some of the danger that we live in this internet world as
Yeah.
well. You
Yep.
know, and that's one of those things of if and I've seen some people do this, like one of those things of like, if I ever have kids,
Yeah.
right? Adopt them or whatever. That's one of those things where if any photos were posted, it would be to a very locked down group that could see them.
Yeah.
And it probably wouldn't be on like a social media app. What
Mm.
would probably be like I would upload them to my Google Photos drive and directly share them to
Friends and
friends
family
and
and
family. I'd be like, "Hey, you want whatever." Sort of like how so like for my own family, I have a thing where any of my family members that the photo app sees and tags, it automatically adds them to the group and shares them to specific people. In fact,
Mhm.
I think there's one where it's you and Josh. Any photo with you or Josh, it automatically tags and makes it available for you 2 to see.
Oh, okay, okay. I was
It
like, "Are we
doesn't
just available to see
it doesn't
for
sh
all your friends?" Like,
no,
"Who are
no, no.
these guys?"
No, it's just for you to, like, if
Oh,
either of you
okay,
2 are detecting the
okay.
photo, either of you can log in and see that
That photo.
list.
Yeah.
That's what I would
Oh,
do.
okay. That's smart,
I
yeah.
wouldn't do a public thing. Now, once they're old enough and we can have that discussion and I'm not talking like 12, 13. I'm talking like 17, 18,
Yeah,
where they're able to start actually thinking about the consequences of the future. Because let's be honest here,
yeah.
a younger person, 12, 13 years old, is not thinking about the consequences of their actions that they are taking. They're thinking about the immediate thing. Oh, is this going to be fun? Is this going to be cool? Is this going to make me look awesome? They're
Right.
not thinking, what's this going to do to me 3, 4, 5 years down the road?
Well, that yeah.
No, 17 and
Yeah.
18, still not fully there yet, but thinking hopefully a little bit more. Once we
Mhm,
have that conversation, once I'm like, okay, they are confident, they are mature enough, and we can have that conversation,
mhm.
and they're like, yeah, that's cool for photos, then okay, whatever.
Well,
But
yeah.
until then,
Yeah, no.
because guess what? I'm seeing firsthand
Mhm,
how social media like this is destroying people.
mhm.
I'm seeing younger people whose parents posted all this stuff about them on social media because they're younger and posting about them, and all of a sudden these kids are growing up and they're going, all my life is out there for everyone to see, and they had no control over posting any of that
Oh, yeah, that's
stuff from them
interesting.
from their 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
It's one thing when a family member or a close friend of a family sees the photo album,
Mhm.
either the physical or the digital version. It's another thing when it's public for all to
The
see, like you said, the pedophile rings and all that too.
well,
Because a
right.
lot of parents
Mhm.
not tech savvy. They don't know how to lock it down so that only their family and friends can see it. And then what
Right.
happens is someone sees it and goes,
Mm.
"Yeah, that was creepy enough to do it."
There you go.
You succeeded in doing the creep.
Yes. I shouldn't be proud about that. But
So that's why, on that too. Because here's the thing, and a lot of people don't realize this. Your social media presence, when you apply for a job, guess what? One of the things that an employer does,
checks out social media.
they check out your social media. That's why what will happen is you'll see when people who maybe say things online that society doesn't like, let's say.
So at some point, any Christian.
Yeah. When they apply for a job, they might lock down their social media or they might do something so that way no one else can see it.
Right. And that sucks if a job would require to see your social media
My
to
job
get
does.
hired. Yeah.
My job monitors all their employees' social media. If they deem us as saying something that the company doesn't like, even it goes this far. If I was to be in a phone call with you,
Yeah.
one-on-one, you got upset about something I said and you reported me to my job and said, Paul said this on the phone call, they could fire me.
That's not okay. That's how we'll lose freedom. If you want a job, you have to just do whatever. Work for a company that no, you have to
Work for a company. Yeah.
live how the company wants you to.
Yep. We're going back to the coal mines, the company stores. You know all that, right?
Wait, hold up. What?
Company stores, coal mines, and all that.
Maybe not.
That's where they paid you in special money that could only be used at the company store. Therefore, you can never earn enough money, real money, to work anywhere else because your money was only good at one spot. It wasn't good anywhere else.
That's great.
So you could never save money to get ahead. So in other words, I'm working for the company store. I have to live by their terms in order to make a living.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I like that.
Great, right? But anyways, any other comments?
Parents, be careful what you post on about your kids. No, other than that.
Teens, be careful about what you post online about yourself.
Yeah, that too. Don't be stupid. And
oh, geez, that's a phrase I say to you all the time.
Shut up! I'm a slow learner. Okay, very slow.
All right. Any other?
But yeah, no, it'd be interesting to see where all this social media stuff goes.
It's going to the metaverse in 3D, so that's great.
What?
I already know what the theme song of Metaverse is going to be.
What our song?
It's going to be Unholy by Sam Smith.